Hey y'all, it's Creature Boo from Drop Dead Inc. again. As always, thanks to my new subscribers, by the way, much appreciated. Please tell your friends. So today I'm going to talk about stencil application and removal the safe way. And I'm not going to get into how to make stencils. There's carbon paper. You either have a stencil machine. Personally, I still hand do them. I don't know, I kind of like doing it by hand because I get the initial, like, kind of do all the line work or whatever before the tattoo, so I kind of, get a feel for what I'm going to do when I actually do the tattoo. And plus, I don't know, I'm a little, I'm old school, and I could think of better things to blow like $300 on than a stencil making machine. But either or, carbon paper, tracing paper, just like white, printing paper works, whatever for that. But I'm going to talk about actually when you go to put the stencil on somebody. So back in the day, like I've been doing this for 27 years now. Back in those days, speed stick was a common method of you just rub a little speed stick deodorant on the area getting tattooed, slap the stencil on and go. And a lot of times that speed stick would end up getting reused. Chances are nobody was going to throw a whole stick of deodorant away at the end of one tattoo. But again, it was very dangerous, cross-contamination type stuff. All you really need to do if you nick somebody when you're shaving them, and I should stress that you really have to shave the area that's getting tattooed, because you can cause like ingrown hairs, like you can actually push hair follicles back into the skin. It'll kind of fester or whatever when the tattoo's healing, and that sucks. They're painful. They kind of look like pimples, and also if you get even like a little bit of light hair will stop the stencil from sticking like it should. So make sure the area is completely shaved. Again, I got all my stuff here. So disposable razors, shave it. Even if you don't see any blood or anything, obviously disposable is the key thing. Disposable as in one shot, throw them away. Then you would take something like, you have your bottle of, say, green soap, or I haven't tried this yet, but this is like a intense cleanse, and it's kind of like this pretty much makes a gallon of cleaning solution. So basically what I do is I'll just take my green soap. Of course, you always want to have bags on your bottles that get thrown away after every use, because if you touch that trigger when you're tattooing, this whole bottle would be contaminated. So disposable bags over your bottles. Anyway, like I'll just spray the area down really good. One day I'm going to have somebody come here and like do a video, like record me doing this from like step one all the way up through the tattoo. But anyway, so you want to just like soap up the area really good. Again, with your razor, shave the area really good. Shave it, clean. Make sure there's no hair on the area that's getting tattooed. So you have your stencil made, and then basically to put it on, so there's a couple of things that are safe. This stuff right here, Dettol, is great. It's a first aid antiseptic, and of course it's a liquid, so I have like a little spray bottle for that. So just a real light spray of that, whatever, on the area. And again, it's a first aid antiseptic, so it's kind of cleaning the area really good before the tattoo even starts. That stuff's great. The only thing, like in certain areas, I won't use it because it does like run a little bit, so you kind of got to catch it with a paper towel, or stuff like this, like Easy Lubricating Jelly, which is just basically a generic Surgilube, and it's a stereostatic jelly. So stuff like that works really good, and I'll keep that in like a little bottle up here. And anyway, so that works really good, and that's like pretty much it. So one thing I should stress is make sure your client is happy with the placement of the stencil, because I've heard people come to me getting tattooed from other people. They like the tattoo that they got from somebody else, but they would complain about, well, they just put it on and I didn't get a chance to, they should have been moved a little bit. So make sure, let them check it out. Let your customer check it out. Make sure it's exactly where they want it, exactly what they want. And when they say go, you're good to go. In the event that they're not happy with the placement, this is a really inexpensive way of being able to take that stencil off quickly, that carbon stencil off, real inexpensive, like I say. So I was digging through this supplier catalog years ago, and they had this stuff. It was called Stencil On, which was basically this. For like twice the amount, as I found out, and they had a stuff called Stencil Off, and the Stencil Off they were selling for like $6 for like a 4-ounce bottle of it, and it said it can be used as hand sanitizer. So it struck me as hand sanitizer, a little squirt of this will, and just a little tiny squirt, kind of soap up your towel a little bit, your paper towel, and that stencil will come off so nice, and so you can have a nice fresh clean area to move the stencil when you need to. And that's pretty much it. That basically covers that. Another thing, skin scribes, like disposable, again, skin scribes. The thing about so blood, you can have like just a tiny drop of infected blood, and it will live forever. Like a hepatitis, for instance, like if somebody with hepatitis were to brush against a thorn bush, that can be infectious for like years after. So if somebody else were to brush up against it, they can still actually contract hepatitis from that. So this is really no joke. And the thing is, too, bloodborne pathogens are also airborne pathogens, which is why, it's impervious to keep all your equipment, even your gloves. Like, I could never understand why even doctors' offices have open boxes of gloves sitting on a desk with people coughing or whatever. And then when you're doing a tattoo, there's those open wounds, and those bloodborne pathogens are airborne, so they kind of land on everything to a certain extent. So yeah, make sure all your stuff, I got I keep all my big stack of needles in my refrigerator because it keeps microorganisms from growing on the packaging. But I have like a little supply right here that, for easy access. My gloves, my ink cups, my razors and tongue depressors. They're all in sealed containers, and this desk at the end of the night, or at the end of every tattoo, actually gets all wiped down. So anyway, getting back to that. So, again, so if you have the area shaved and say your stencil is light in a couple spots and you want to kind of darken it up a little bit, you can't really just take like a ballpoint pen or a Sharpie, like a thin point Sharpie, and reuse that Sharpie, because again, that area has been shaved, and it can take just a speck of unseeable blood to spread to be cross contaminant basically. So disposable skin scribes, these are fairly inexpensive. Just open it up, color your stencil and darken it up or whatever. These are great too for just freehand stuff. A lot of times people just have me draw right on them, no stencils at all. So yeah, and this stuff is relatively expensive. I think this 16-ounce bottle of Dettol. This, by the way, when you do use it, don't dilute it. This is just straight Dettol in here. The same with this. So what I'll do actually with this too is I just take a Q-tip. I'll just put a little squirt of it on. Take a Q-tip, and of course they're in a sealed container. And spread it around or whatever. And you don't really need much, as I found out. If you use a lot of it, the stencil actually doesn't really stick good, and you gotta wipe off easy. So you don't really just need a minimal amount of coverage. You don't need to have a big glop of it on the skin to get it to stick. And the same with the Dettol. Yeah, so that pretty much covers it or whatever. And again, I can't even stress enough, you guys, keep your customers happy. You know what I mean? Make sure they're happy with the placement of the tattoo. And that way they're not going to have an opportunity to go on and say, oh, I like the tattoo, but not really happy with the placement, because as the rumor mill spreads, as professional as you can possibly be, and make sure that the customers are happy, that's pretty much the bottom line with that or whatever. And, I always do stress too, especially with newer people, it takes one infection or certainly spreading a disease. And I've seen it happen countless times over my career. if somebody gets into tattooing, or going along or whatever, they're just cutting corners, trying to get out a couple of dollars easy, or not really sterilizing things like they should, and somebody gets an infection, they're 3 weeks into just buying all this tattoo stuff, and they want to make a career out of it, and all it takes is one infection, or one certainly spreading a disease, and that'll ruin your career right then and there, especially with social media and rumors, and I mean, the rumor mill, if you live in an area like I do, it's like relentless. So yeah, do things, do them the right way. Don't cut corners. And don't use speed stick, unless you can get little tiny, a speed stick, I'll tell you what, it'll stick a stencil on, but unless you can get unless you just can use that one stick and throw it away after every use, don't use deodorant. I've seen tattoo supply companies sell starter kits with quote unquote everything you need to tattooing, which never have any kind of sterilization equipment. And they come with sticks of speed stick or some type of deodorant, and I was thinking, oh my god, so yeah, there's a lot more to it than buying a starter kit that says has everything to tattoo. So make sure you have what you need to keep your clients safe and happy, and that's kind of the bottom line. So anyway, as always, think ink. Thanks again, everybody. I'll be putting out some more videos, but I greatly appreciate you guys following me. Spread the word, please. See ya.